Manchester City's seemingly indestructible reign has hit a shocking low. After years of dominance, Pep Guardiola's side now finds itself in uncharted waters, facing a 5-string of defeats and, more worryingly, an identity crisis. Injuries to critical players, structural imbalances, and unexpected lapses in discipline have exposed a team that once appeared flawless. The most pressing question isn't how this happened. We know the pieces that have gone missing, but whether Guardiola can find solutions fast enough to save their season. Has his system finally run into a problem he can't outmaneuver? Manchester City has been exploited, not by tactical masterminds, but by opponents exposing fundamental cracks in their game. Losses have snowballed into mental fragility, and without their motor, Rodri, the team looks disjointed and unable to control games. The blueprint is broken, and rivals are taking advantage. Will Pep reinvent the system yet again, or has City reached its breaking point? Rodri isn't just another defensive midfielder. He's the heartbeat of Guardiola's machine. Since his arrival at Manchester City, he's redefined what it means to anchor a team's midfield. He's the pivot in possession, the barrier in defense, and the orchestrator of transitions. Without him, their win percentage drops from 73.6% to 58.3%. He brings harmony to City's structure. Without Rodri, Guardiola's midfield operates like a car missing its engine. Mateo Kovacic and Calvin Phillips, talented as they are, lack the potential intelligence and the physical dominance Rodri brings. Kovacic offers dynamism but not the same ability to protect the back line. Phillips struggles to execute Guardiola's intricate demands. This has led to a cascading effect, exposing City's defense to more direct counterattacks. Tottenham figured out that City wanted to press high and make the field smaller for them. To counter that, when Tottenham has the ball, they decided to stretch City. They play long balls over the defense and put their wingers in 1-versus-1s against City's defenders, Walker and Guardiola. When put in these running 1-versus-1s, it is very important that the central defenders keep up with the run behind to back up their right or left back. But if you look at this against Tottenham, where are Savinho and Silva? They're slowly jogging behind the situation, and that's exactly what Tottenham capitalized on. If you look at both the first and the second goal, this is exactly what happened. They're jogging slowly back home instead of covering the space with full sprinting power. The first goal is Savinho and Silva, and the second goal is Walker not helping out Stones. It is not their fault entirely, but these small details make a huge difference. They don't like to be facing their goal while defending. It is clear, and they weren't used to it. But now, when Rodri is not on the field, they have to, but still choose not to. Rodri's ability to anticipate danger and snuff out attacks is also critical in high-pressure games. His absence doesn't just leave City vulnerable defensively, it disrupts their attacking flow. Manchester City's defensive line is one of the most high-risk systems in the world of football, relying on split-second decisions and perfect positioning. When executed flawlessly, it suffocates opponents, leaving them unable to breathe in possession. But this season, execution has faltered, and the high line has turned into a glaring weakness. Opponents have wised up to this. Teams like Tottenham, Sporting, and Brighton have focused on bypassing City's pressing traps by attacking directly. These teams aren't just absorbing pressure, they're exploiting it, launching rapid counterattacks to expose City's vulnerabilities in wide areas and central transitions. In recent games, City's fullbacks Walker and Guardiola have been overwhelmed. Walker, while still fast and experienced, has struggled to handle the sheer volume of attacks coming down his flank. Without Rodri's protection, the defensive line faces a greater burden, one that even a backline as talented as City's is struggling to bear. Even City's usual weapon of recovery runs, led by Walker and Stones, is no longer sufficient. The sheer pace and precision of modern counterattacks have left them jogging behind shadows, illustrating how Guardiola's system, once impenetrable, is now showing signs of age. City's struggles aren't just tactical, they're psychological. For years, leaders like Vincent Kompany, Fernandinho, and David Silva anchored the team with their experience and calm under pressure. But as this generation moved on, City adapted, finding new leaders in players like De Bruyne and Rodri. Now, with both sidelines, the void is glaring. In their absence, the team has lacked directions on the pitch. Kyle Walker and John Stones, while seasoned, haven't provided the vocal or tactical leadership needed during this crisis. This has been most evident in moments when players decide to jog towards a defensive position. Leadership isn't just about rallying the game. It's about making decisions that stabilize the game. Without Rodri's physical defensive dominance or De Bruyne's ability to change the tempo, City has faltered in crucial moments. Their ability to manage tight games has deteriorated, leading to late collapses and mental lapses that are uncharacteristic of Guardiola's side. Blaming City's struggles on Erling Haaland might seem tempting. After all, he's the focal point of their attack. Yet, the issues go far deeper than one player. City's opponents have figured out how to neutralize their possession-based approach by disrupting their build-up phase. Teams like Tottenham have adopted a high and aggressive press, forcing City into uncomfortable positions in their defensive third. Without Rodri's calm presence to dictate play, City struggles to escape this pressure. But even when they did, there were problems. Against Spurs, Maddison and Sarr pushed high up the pitch, making life difficult for City's midfielders. Even when City managed to bypass the press, the recovery runs from Spurs midfielders and Dejan Kulusevski ensured that City's progression was stifled before it could turn dangerous. Contrast this with City's own defensive transitions. How often do we see City wingers making those long busting recovery runs? Against Tottenham, Kulusevski and Maddison consistently tracked back to help their fullbacks, while City's wingers were notably absent in similar scenarios. Porro's goal was a perfect example of Spurs turning defense into attack with relentless energy, a quality City has lacked in recent weeks. This reluctance to work defensively, combined with opponents' higher and more aggressive pressing, has left City without the control they usually exert. Guardiola's teams thrive on suffocating opponents with possession, but without the necessary defensive effort from every player, they're now being suffocated themselves. Erling Haaland's numbers are still impressive. 12 goals in 25 matches this season, accounting for 55% of City's goals, but the reliance on one player is both a strength and a weakness. Haaland's presence was supposed to elevate City's attack, yet it seems to have overshadowed the contributions of others. In past seasons, players like Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez, and Kevin De Bruyne could single-handedly change games. This season, with De Bruyne injured and Mahrez gone, no one has stepped up to fill that creative void. Doku and Grealish, both sidelined by injuries, haven't been able to provide consistent output, while Savinho and Matheus Nunes are still adapting to Guardiola's complex system. Both of them haven't even scored a goal. Out of City's 6 goal scorers this season, 3 are defensive-minded players. This lack of attacking depth puts immense pressure on Haaland, who is often left isolated against tightly packed defenses. While Haaland thrives in open spaces, City's inability to create those spaces has made him less effective, leaving the team increasingly reliant on set pieces and moments of individual brilliance. But that's the problem. No one is doing it. Guardiola has tried to compensate for Rodri's absence by reconfiguring his midfield. He deployed players like Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden in deeper roles, hoping their technical ability could make up for the lack of physicality. But this approach has only highlighted the importance of Rodri's unique skill set. Rodri isn't just a defensive shield, he's also City's most effective player in physical duels. Replacing him with 2 number 8s might work in terms of ball retention, but it leaves City vulnerable in transitions and physical battles. Guardiola's midfield experiments have often led to a lack of balance, with the team losing its compactness both with and without the ball. The 4-1 loss to Sporting illustrated this perfectly. Kovacic, playing as a makeshift number 6, was repeatedly outmuscled in 50-50 situations, leaving City's backline exposed. The absence of a true defensive midfielder has forced City to play more conservatively, sacrificing their usual fluidity and dominance. The tactical and physical issues are clear, but what's even more concerning is the mental state of the team. City's players seem hesitant, even lazy, in their defensive duties. Without Rodri, City's midfield lacks the grit and determination needed to win battles in high-pressure games. This mental laziness translates into physical deficiencies on the field, as seen in moments like Timo Werner effortlessly bypassing City's defense. For a team that prides itself in collective effort, this lack of commitment is deeply uncharacteristic and concerning. Rodri's absence has made cracks in Guardiola's system. While the team's struggles are multifaceted, the solution starts with effort and responsibility. City's players must adapt to new roles, stepping up to fill the leadership void left by Rodri and De Bruyne. Pep Guardiola has reinvented his teams countless times, but this might be his toughest challenge yet. Whether through tactical innovation or inspiring his players to rise to the occasion, Guardiola needs to find answers, and fast. With the Premier League title race heating up, every point lost could prove decisive. The tactical gap Rodri leaves behind is undeniable, and it is up to time to tell us if Guardiola might yet find a way to overcome it. The clock is ticking and the world is watching. I would love to hear what you think down below, but next, make sure to check out why FC Barcelona might be walking themselves into a very dark era.